Hi, I'm Alex. This is my husband, David.
I'm David Segal, and welcome to the Segal family.
We have one son. His name is Ezra. He just turned 2. Mama. And one on the way. Oops. I'm just about 9 months pregnant.
I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, upstate.
I'm originally from New Jersey. And now we live here.
Yeah, now we live here.
We've been living in Moscow for about 3.5 years.
We met in Israel through a matchmaker.
Yeah, she set us up. We dated there a bit, back in America, and then we ended up getting married in the spring of 2018.
My family had a few business opportunities in Russia and offered if I wanted to move to Russia. After our 4th date, I said that if we were to get married, there's a high probability that we would move to Russia for work.
Is that a deal breaker for you, basically?
Woohoo! Будем ехать. Поезд чу-чу! О! I speak Russian. I grew up speaking Russian in my house. My family is originally from Ukraine and Russia. My father's from Kherson, and my mother, Olashom, she was born in Moscow.
I do not speak Russian, although I have learned a lot in my time here. Life in Russia, for me, it was definitely a culture shock. I think the language was the hardest part. It just makes it a lot more isolating and a lot more difficult. Going in.
The local Jewish community is incredible. So warm, so welcoming, made us feel like family.
It was easier than people who have to really start from scratch and find families and people to meet and places to go. I had a friend who took me around to all the grocery stores in the beginning, so we had a built-in community right when we got here.
Cheers! Cheers!
Do you need help? Ezra is a very happy kid. Thank God he's very social, funny, cute, sweet, affectionate.
He loves hugs.
He's the best.
Big hugger.
Right now, Ezra is in a big car phase. He loves playing with his cars, buses, tractors, trains. He loves vehicles, things that move.
We love our nanny. Natalia, she's fantastic. Ezra loves her, she loves Ezra. Finding a very good nanny is very difficult.
Especially one that speaks English.
And especially one
that was
that
very
speaks
important
English.
for me. Having Natalia, our nanny, has been amazing. The biggest thing I've learned is that wherever you are, you really need to build that support system. And it's important, and it is what will get you through, because no one can do this alone. For giving birth to Ezra, I decided to travel back to the States because everything about that experience was new for me. And although I had an amazing doctor here, I was just a bit nervous about how the birth was going to go and how I was going to be able to do that in a foreign language. Even with David there and even with an English-speaking doctor, it was just totally unknown to me. And I just thought it would be really a lot more comforting if I could just be in my home country. I'm happy that we're raising Ezra here right now. I think it's an amazing foundation for him to have these opportunities to go to a Russian-speaking daycare and to be learning from the teachers there, to be learning from his nanny, to be learning from other kids. I think it's also knowing that it's not going to be forever for us, so knowing that he's getting this exposure and background right now, and then at some point we will be back and he'll be able to bring that with him.
We are planning on giving birth to our 2nd child in Moscow.
I think this time, one of the reasons that I decided to stay is because knowing how much work goes into that and then to have to do it with another child is a whole different thing. Setting up a temporary home, buying all the stuff that you need for a baby, while making sure that Ezra's taken care of. And I think with this big change coming, it's helpful to not have everything else change at once. I'm excited to have a new baby in the house. I'm excited for Ezra to be a big brother. I'm excited to see him in the big brother role and with a baby around. I think that'll be really different.
I love babies and I love being a dad. Just a new, exciting time for our family.
This Russian military operation is now, in fact, underway.
A live look now at the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv as Russian forces approach the city. You wonder how quickly Russians will feel the impact of these sanctions, not only short term, but long term.
Pretty far along in my pregnancy. I'm due in less than 2 weeks, so any day now. We have been back in the States for a little over 2 weeks. We stayed with David's brother for a couple weeks, and we found this house, and we moved in over the weekend, and we've been here for a few days. So yeah, getting settled now. We had plans to come back eventually once David's project was finished, once it made the most sense for us, but our timeline obviously shifted with everything going on there. Day by day, the news kept changing and things were more and more uncertain, and especially being so pregnant, we knew that at a certain point I really wouldn't be able to travel, so we decided to leave now. Just felt like the safest decision to come back and then see what happens.
More global companies are taking a stand against Russia. IKEA, Ford, BP, and American Express have made similar moves.
And the list goes on. Just this week, Apple announcing it stopped selling its products there.
In the first week of sanctions, I think there was a huge panic amongst the citizens of Russia. And so there was a run on ATMs, that there were lines 50 people long. The banks weren't able to stock the ATMs with cash as quickly as they were being withdrawn. The ruble had devalued by 30%.
The biggest thing we noticed were things like Apple Pay not working, or your American credit card wasn't working. We didn't know how things would evolve. We didn't know how products would be in terms of would they still be on shelves? Would people be buying everything? Would it be harder to get diapers or food or anything like that? I think Sunday we were saying, oh, we're gonna stay, we already decided we're gonna give birth here, it's fine, like the day-to-day seems normal. Monday, things got a little more uncertain. Then Tuesday, I had lunch with a friend and things were even more uncertain, and she was telling me about other people in the community that were starting to make plans to leave, and then things changed.
The economic sanctions leveled against Russia by the U.S. and its allies are the harshest ever handed down, and their effects are being widely felt in Russia.
We were saying, okay, it's time to leave. We actually tried to leave the following day, but it was very hard to get a flight out.
United Airlines flights will not fly over Russia. Delta says some of its Asia-bound flights will no longer go through Russian airspace, and American is rerouting flights over Ukraine.
Every single day, another airline was canceling their flights out of Russia. And with Alex being pregnant, there was very limited options to leave.
There was just a lot of moving parts, so we actually tried to be on 2 different flights before we ended up leaving on Sunday. Being pregnant was a major factor in terms of getting a flight. Most airlines have certain policies about how pregnant you can be in order to go on a flight. And we were just really nervous. What if they said something to us? What if they didn't allow us on the plane? Honestly, then I just went to the airport and prayed, and I held my jacket in front of my stomach and just was very nonchalant, and thank God nobody asked.
I felt very comfortable once we made it through security and passport control.
I felt very comfortable when we landed in Israel because you had heard stories previously also of planes turning around mid-air because all of a sudden the country decided that they weren't allowed to fly in that airspace. I felt better when we were in the air, but once we landed and I was in Israel, I really felt like I could breathe. Okay. It's my new kitchen, and this is the first meal that I'm cooking in this kitchen, officially. I've made eggs for breakfast, but this is the first dinner situation. Big day.
It took one day to pack.
We left behind most of our stuff. We basically took clothes to get us through this season, some of Ezra's toys, a few books, anything that else that was important to us that I didn't know when I would see again, and that's it.
Вкусно.
Ezra, я тебя люблю, как ты говоришь?
We miss our nanny. We were sad that she was not going to be able to come with us.
It was an emotional goodbye.
She had been a very big part of our family life. I did try to facilitate for her to get an American visa, but the conflict started several days before, and she was denied. So we will try again in 6 months. Hello, Mama.
Thank God Ezra is a really great, malleable kid. I don't know if it's the age, I don't know if it's a personality or a combination of the two, but he's been really great in terms of adjusting to moving to America. I don't think he's really processing what's happening. Might need new batteries. Yeah. In terms of giving birth in the US compared to Russia, obviously I'm more comfortable overall in the US. It's comforting to know that I'll be able to communicate with the nurses, with the doctors, with whoever's there, and I'm more in my home element. I had an appointment with a practice here because I wasn't sure what I was going to do yet, and I called them and said, look, I'm back. I know it's really late, but is it okay if I come back? I was able to get settled with them, find a new doula actually, and I'm just hoping everything will go smoothly. It obviously is a crazy situation, and I think most people would agree with that, but while you're watching the news and you're seeing women give birth on stretchers in a war zone and NICU units in bomb shelters, you know, I feel very blessed to be in this situation where I'm coming home to my family versus having to make that kind of choice. It has helped me emotionally just to focus on that gratitude.
For the foreseeable future, we see ourselves here in northern New Jersey. We're about to give birth, and we're just focused on creating a family here.
We know we need to kind of be in a place anyway for a solid 3 months, and then we'll reevaluate, we'll see what's going on in the world, we'll see what's going on in our lives, and we'll make a new decision. I think if this situation has taught us anything, and if the past 2 years have taught us anything with COVID, is we have no idea what's coming, we have no idea what's about to happen, so we're really just focused on getting through this next phase, and then we will see and make a decision based on that.
We're ready for our American journey.